Mac PowerBook, and then put sound effects on it and music on it. And so he showed Michael and I the fight. And it was so great because we knew exactly what we had to get. He'd say, this shot, all I need is this sword going like this, you look up. And so it was a very kind of like super focused way to work, and it was a real like pleasure. It did take 3 weeks. In fact, I got married in the middle of the fight sequence. Yeah. I got married, and yeah, it was all, I got to have a couple days off. I flew home, I met this girl, I flew home, married her, and then I came back the day after my wedding. And it was amazing. You could tell. You can tell if you look closer. You can see in my eyes the difference between a bachelor and a father, husband, grandfather, family member, responsible man. You can see it, and you can feel it. Yeah, I was scared. Yeah, I know. And I didn't even mean it. I didn't even try. That's the thing. It just happens.
Did you ever go back to her?
Who? Did I ever go back to her? She came back. She came with me to Toronto, and technically we're still married. Print that.
I like his style of asking questions.
How is it like to be an action hero, and how did you train for it, Michael?
Give me 1 second.
Shake weight.
Well, it's shake weight.
You do.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of getting up and running in the morning. We did like 2 months of training. So we woke up and ran and did squats. about a half-hour squats, and like half-hour sit-ups.
You're not kidding.
I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Push-ups, you know, headstands. Prove it.
No,
You just watched the movie, huh? The movie says it all. This is what you get.
We did do like this, it's true, we did this boot camp.
you win. Edgar win every day.
Well, we did it for 8 weeks, like,
So did Jason.
well, what was amazing, it was actually sort of, I got the opportunity to talk to Quentin Tarantino about how he made Kill Bill, and one of the things he said was 8 weeks minimum for all the actors. I mean, especially actors who haven't done action before, and the irony is with the film is, the two people who have done action, Chris Evans and Brandon Routh, don't really fight that much. Like, especially Brandon Routh, he doesn't lay a finger on Michael. Like, Chris does a little bit of fighting, but he essentially leaves it to the stunt crew. But what was great is we had everybody there, like, for 2 months before, and like, you know, some films never have any rehearsal, so we had this kind of like 8-week period where we did like training in the morning with all the cast together. Then they would go off and do their different special skills, like Chris Evans would do his skateboarding, like Brandon would be doing the wire work, like Michael had to learn all the fights, Jason had to do sword fighting, Mary was rollerblading, like, you know, it was kind of, and it was all in this stage, and then also we did music rehearsal during that period, and rehearsing the extra scenes, so it was an amazing thing to have everybody there together. And then, like, it was at 8 AM every morning for 2 hours, and the trainer, our fight trainer was this guy, Max White, who was Hellboy's stunt double. It was, you know, and we would have a gym mix. And then also like, other actors who weren't even in fight scenes would come and join us. Because they feel left out, that something was going on in the mornings. So Kieran Cole and Brie Larson would end up training even though they didn't have any fighting to do.
Brian Lee O'Malley.
And Brian Lee O'Malley, yeah, he came and trained. It was amazing.
It's nice too because I find it, you know, it's a little nerve-wracking to meet all these actors. There's so many actors in this movie, and I love most of them. No, I really like them all. And then, you know, but you're nervous, or you know, like how you want everyone to get along, and it was nice because going through this training process, and all of us being like having to do these weird leapfrog things and all this stuff, we were all just laughing, and it did break down any like it was embarrassing and fun, and it was a great way for everyone to get to know each other. it was nice.
Hi, this is awesome. This is kind of directed to all of you. Jason touched on it a little bit earlier. This movie has a lot more computer-generated effects than any of y'all's previous work that I'm familiar with. What kind of experience was that for y'all?
I guess I've done some digital effects on, Hot Fuzz, but this was a lot of a bigger. I mean, it basically took a lot of kind of. There's not actually that much. It's not an awful amount of green screen in it. There's some, but we tried really hard to kind of shoot the fight scenes on locations and on sets, so it was kind of really physically happening. Because I feel like sort of, with a couple of exceptions, like Sin City 300, I'm not a big fan of some of the green screen films, and I felt like with this, I just wanted to, because the concept was so outlandish, it had to kind of feel real, and the actors had to literally have their feet on the ground. So it's really important for me to kind of shoot on real sets. But I guess what we did to kind of get the look of it right, and I wanted the sort of the effects to look integrated, and so in some cases when there are graphics, there are actually lights that flash in the scene where the graphic is supposed to be hanging in the air, so that it not just appears, but it casts like a light on the actors. So we tried to integrate those things, and with a lot of the hits and kind of sword stuff, we had a lot of interactive wind or light to kind of make it feel, so it didn't feel like just graphics slapped on top. So like with that end fight sequence when Jason is using the pixel sword, every time the two swords connect, there was a little flashbulb going off on set, which sometimes are painted out, but like, so some shots you would have like around the actors, a circle of like 8 flashbulbs, and I would be standing by the monitor and watching them, and every time they hit, I would hit the light bulb. And so that's like the physical effect, but it does help like the CG effects, it makes them.
And the set that moves.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of in-camera stuff. Like there's that scene where Michael walks from the lounge into the bathroom with the P-bar and then back out into the school corridor, and that's all one shot. That was like a moving set. So we tried to do a lot of in-camera effect, but there was but with the CG stuff, we did a test like 2 years ago. We shot a test, and it was like me. It was most of the crew, like Bill Pope and Brad Allen, the stunt coordinator, and my production designer, and we all were in Toronto. And we shot the Patel and Scott Pilgrim fight with 2 stuntmen, both of whom are in the film. Like the guy who plays Lucas Lee's first stunt double played Scott, and Chris Mark, who's this amazing 22-year-old like bow staff champion acrobat, played Patel, and he's one of the main stunt doubles in the film, And so that will be on the DVD. So that's kind of funny to see like a Scott versus Patel fight with 2 kind of stuntmen. And then we did all the effects on that, and we showed that to the studio, and that was, because we already had the script, and we had the books, and we had some of the actors, but there was always this question of, so what's it going to look like, And people would quote other films and say, well, I don't want it to look exactly like that, or this, and, I think a lot of people would read the script and say, oh, so you're going to shoot it like Sin City? And it's like, no, I don't really want to do that, I want to do it sort of slightly differently. So that was a big part of it, doing all of that. If we hadn't done that test, we would have still been like chasing our tail like way after we'd finished shooting. But it was a really great thing I could show it to the actors, I showed it to all of the actors, I showed it to the crew before we started filming, so they could see like this is what it's supposed to be like.
I love you. Before I ask you this question, I want to thank you for Shaun of the Dead, Space, and Hot Fuzz. You are dead. Movie defines our generation. If so, is that why you picked Scott Pilgrim?
What was the question?
Alright, do you believe this movie defines our generation, and is that why you picked Scott Pilgrim?
Why I picked the film?
Yeah.
I guess it really spoke to me in like, when I read the first book, it did like kind of remind me a little bit of Spaced in a good way. And Brian Lee O'Malley had never seen Spaced, and and when I first talked to him, I sent him the DVD. But I like that idea of like, it was something, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead both took place, even as ridiculous as they get, they still took place in a real world where, people die and don't come back, and there's real violence and blood, but what I liked about the books, and what was kind of similar in a way to Spaced that I wanted to return to, is I like this idea of, young characters, it's in that period post-school or college, but pre-vocation, where you haven't really figured out what direction your life is going to take. That you're in this kind of perpetual adolescence, and you're kind of like, you've left home, but you're still playing video games, and